right. So I want to talk about technology because I watched Elon Musk interview at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. It was very good, very interesting. And he said two things. Eventually, probably in the next 5 or 10 years, but soon there are going to be more robots than people. And he also said he believes that we will be able to eventually reverse aging. I think, and I'm being funny, but I'm not being funny. I think that Elon is Damien, aka Damien. It's to me, my own personal opinion, it is biology to age. Now, if you want to mess around with God, because I believe we all have a soul. So if soul, soul, but I believe we have a soul. But you want to get in, start messing with the cells and the cellular to reverse age. The people who are trying to figure out, or these wealthy people, powerful people who are paying doctors and scientists to figure out how to reverse aging, is because they want to live forever to keep continuing to do what they're doing, and that is not good.
Can you and I reverse aging in this new history, or are we going to see it?
I haven't put much time into the aging stuff. I do think it is a very solvable problem. Like you can. I think when we figure out what causes aging, I think we'll find it's incredibly obvious. It's not a subtle thing. The reason I say it's not a subtle thing is because all the cells in your body, with some pretty much age at the same rate. I've never seen someone with an old left arm and a young right arm ever in my life. So why is that? That means that there must be a clock, a synchronizing clock,
right,
that is synchronizing across 35 trillion cells in your body. There is some benefit to death, by the way. It's like there's a reason why we don't actually have a longer lifespan, because if people do live forever for a very long time, I think there's some risk of an ossification of society, of things just getting kind of locked in place, and it just may become stultifying, just not lack vibrancy. But that said, do I think we'll figure out ways to extend life and maybe even reverse aging? I think that's highly likely.
And I am against having more robots than people because for me, that would be the end of humanity. However, I want to play this clip here.
So let me add something to this, Mick, real quick. Most people don't know what they mean by robot. They assume it is some animistic, humanoid-looking creature that walks around on two legs with two arms, and that's the robot. It doesn't have to be that way. See, robots can come in any form, many forms, and many shapes. Some of them just look like boxes. You have robots controlling the aircraft that you ride in when you fly from one location to another. They're just built into the airplane. The airplane is essentially a robot itself. It can fly itself if the pilots are incapacitated. If they switch on the right instruments, the aircraft can land itself without their being involved in the process. It certainly can fly itself from point A to point B, and usually what the flight crew does is set the autopilot with the designation already programmed in and just sit back and monitor everything. So that's a robot. And we already have quite a few of those. A lot of the cars that we drive right now qualify as robots. And we have those cars that don't even have a passenger riding in or a driver riding in to monitor things that are already operating. So China has anthropomorphic, meaning human-looking robots that work in the factories that are becoming a great percentage of the workforce. So when we tell our youth, you need to deal with avocations, and you need to deal with learning to be this, that, and the other vocational skills. We're telling them to get into something that'll probably be obsolete in a couple of decades and they'll be out of a job. So the one thing they cannot get into is people management by robots, because most humans right now would not accept that. I know I wouldn't. And
Well,
somebody needs to start adjusting things.
in the World Economic Forum interview sit down that he had, he did say robots that can help you watch your kids while you're at work, can help you clean your house, can help you with the things, walk the dog, so could help assist a family. He's talking about humanoid robots.
Yeah, I mean, the way to think of it is that if you have a large number of humanoid robots, the economic output is the average productivity per robot times the number of robots.
Right.
And actually, my prediction is in the benign scenario of the future that the robots will actually make so many robots in AI that they will actually saturate all human needs. Meaning you won't be able to even think of something to ask the robot for at a certain point. Like there will be such an abundance of goods and services, because my prediction is that there'll be more robots than people. So,
But how do you then have human purpose in that scenario?
yeah, I mean, nothing's perfect, but it is a necessary. Like, you can't have both. You can't have work that has to be done and amazing abundance for all. Because if it's work that has to be done, then you and only some people can do it, then you can't have abundance.
Then
for
it's
all.
narrow.
Yeah, it's narrow.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but if you have billions of humanoid robots, and I think there will be. I think everyone on Earth is going to have one and going to want one, because who wouldn't want a robot to, assuming it's very safe, watch over your kids, take care of your pet. If you have elderly parents, a lot of friends of mine have said they have elderly parents. It's very difficult to take care of them.
Expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive, and there just aren't enough people to take care of there aren't enough young people to take care of the old people.
Right.
So if you had a robot that could take care of and protect an elderly parent, I think that would be great. That would be an amazing thing to have.
Well, it may be, but most of the women I know have a robot vacuum cleaner. They plug in the receptacle, it recharges the thing, it goes out on a program basis, vacuums up the house, shoos the dog out of the way, and comes back, dumps itself, and ready to go until its next program moment, so they don't have to vacuum the house. Some of them are even starting to mop now in certain selected areas they're programmed to deal with. AI is interesting. In other words, you don't program it, you give it a basic program, and then you let it learn. This X-47 that they have, B, that was supposed to be an attack vehicle, a plane. They convert it to a tanker. They use it on aircraft carriers. They can't program it to land on an aircraft carrier. They have to teach the damn things how to land on an aircraft carrier the way they do teach a human pilot. But they stripped it of its weapon status and just made a air-to-air tanker out of it, because people say, wait a minute, this is turning loose Skynet for real. It doesn't look robotic like it is, but it is a robot. So, robots can fly, swim, sit still, and that's what they're trying to do. So they're replacing a lot of what humans do with technology. And by the way, speaking of airplanes, it used to be said in opposition 100 plus years ago, if God had intended man to fly, he would have given him wings. Well, we can make those wings. And, I do like flying on 747s, 757s. They have some of the most uncomfortable seats you can possibly experience, but other aircraft are relaxing and interesting to fly. And if something goes wrong, you get the wildest roller coaster ride you've ever had on the way out.
So I want to play this because then I want to bring this perspective into the conversation.
We actually went to Nvidia's headquarters and we went to Meta's headquarters. Okay. We go to Meta's headquarters, right? We get in the tour of their campus. Their campus is crazy. You don't see one black person there. You hardly don't see any white people there. Chinese and Indian. Mm-hmm. So much they said that they have full Zoom calls in Mandarin. That's how many Chinese people work there. So, of course, from an investment standpoint, we need to invest in tech companies. But from an educational standpoint, I don't think people fully understand how far behind we are in this situation. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not even a thought in the process of like these tech companies. Not one. It might be like one black person in the whole entire department of like 300, 400 people. I'm telling you, we saw it with our own eyes. Hundreds of kids that's 22 years old, 25, 26, all Asian. Every single one of them is Asian. It's a black problem, but it's an American problem. Mm-hmm. Right. For the first time, I think in 20 years, America won like the math Olympics. If you look at the team, they're all Chinese people.
Chinese Americans.
They're all Chinese Americans. Mm-hmm. What does that tell you? Like, we're falling behind so far. Educational system is terrible. And like I said, it's not just a black problem. It's an American problem. Right. Like, we're losing the technology. They're saying China is 6 months. China's already, I just came back from China. China's already 10 years ahead of us. Mm-hmm. Like, if we don't catch up soon, it's going to be very scary.
I hate the Breakfast Club, but, that's wise. A wise set of observations. I mean, I tell people about it all the time. You have to prepare for this. And this is the 21st century. It's not preparing for the 21st century to do something that was practically obsolete in the 19th. So when you keep talking about it, we don't need college, we need vocational. It's up here. They don't need you for labor anymore. You are redundant and obsolete to the requirements. So you can't machine anything in the tolerances that you can get with CNC machining, which is totally robotic and computer controlled. You can't do what you can do with 3D printing, where you can take a blueprint, digitalize the thing, turn the machine loose, and it takes the raw materials. It doesn't cut the object out of the materials. It builds the object up from the materials. Come back a few hours later, and there is this intricately shaped object that you could not machine or cast. It was made. So machines can do things we can't do, but we can still do things machines can't do, and we can integrate the machines into ourselves. We do that all the time. A lot of us are filled with all kinds of prosthetics machines that interface with us and turn us into lower level cyborgs. I mean, you can go from pacemakers to dental implants to all sorts of things that people get put in them because they've got medical problems, and there are no aftermarket parts that are grown right now to replace what original equipment issue matters fell to the wayside when, this, that, and the other, and you stop working. So it's a matter of, it's an artificial thing when you take plastic nails and put them on. It's artificial when the women braid their hair so the ends are down below their butt parts, and nobody grows hair like that these days. The piercings, the tattoos, all of that's embracing artificiality into your body or making it a part of your component set. So it's nothing new. Circumcision is part of the modification of the body. Navel piercings, they're cute. Ladies like to bare their tummies. Sometimes they have tummies too big to bear and they should hide them. But
off or they're in off. So let's swing it back.
You know, I mean, but it's all artificial. So we
So
don't have to be taken over. See, there is choice to be had,
right.
and you can choose to embrace the device as something that helps you do what you do rather than something that takes over from what you do.
Well, that interview, it was a very interesting interview that Elon gave. And he also he was the guy asked him, Mars, do you personally want to go to Mars? He was like, yes. He said he would even live there. He said he wants to go to Mars, live there, and he wouldn't mind dying on Mars. He was like, I just don't want to die on impact.
Do you see yourself ever going to Mars in your lifetime?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like,
That's a long commitment.
I've been asked, but
Isn't that 3 years each way?
it's 6 months.
6 months, that's all it is?
Yeah, 6 months, but the planets only align every 2 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've been asked it a few times, like, do I want to, die on Mars? And I'm like, yes, but just not on impact.
So I say all that to say,
I'd agree with that. Hell, if I was in a different circumstance, I sure as the devil would love to go.
and then he asked him how long. He said, well, the guy said it takes 2 years to get to Mars. He was like, no, actually, we found a way would take only 6 months to get to Mars. So Elon is serious about Mars, about robots, about flying cars. And I say all that to say, to equate what Earn Your Leisure was saying at the Breakfast Club, you need to be proficient and beyond in math and technology.
Yeah, I did well in math. I had all of it, calculus, math analysis, and all that stuff. But most of American students don't get it, and the teachers don't.
So
I corrected a teacher in junior high school. I said, look, you're teaching math wrong. And the reason I'm your student and I got up and showed you on the blackboard where you're wrong is you don't understand what you're. What do you mean? I said, well, first off, you think of math as counting. It's not really counting because that's not what it's about. You can using math, but math is about relationships in the peculiar language that you use to express those relationships that makes it easy to do so. So you have to understand that math is only a language form that deals with analyzing what reality is. So teacher, well, what? I said, well, it's like, what are you really talking about? When you say 2 + 2 = 4, you think of it as all about addition and subtraction, but it's not really. It's just saying that two quantities added with two other quantities, if they are identical, will produce essentially 4 times more of the same effect. But you look at it as numbers when actually it's a set of relationships. That's like when you take Einstein's theory of relativity, general relativity, it's a longer formula, but it's not just E = mc². That is produced by his formula, and a lot of stuff comes up that he didn't even anticipate in his lifetime and that they're just discovering. So math is not invented, it's discovered. So why is it that other people in the world understand that it's about discovery and exploration of the universe, finding out what God is, if you want to put it that way, and other people don't get it because they aren't taught, because they have a built-in cultural aversion to somebody having the superior minds that are necessary to really work with math, because everybody thinks they're equal here, including what de Tocqueville said in his 1843 treatise, Democracy in America. Quote, not quote, but translating the French, it says in English, the average peasant frontier farmer thinks he is the equal in all respects to a doctor of philosophy. That causes him to discount the learning, experience, and academic proficiency of the doctor. So he rejects in his misunderstanding of equality, all of the things that make his nation, the United States, which is becoming industrially dependent upon technology, something that he rejects. He is a great mechanic, but he is not the type of person that thinks up the new ideas. He does not glorify intellect like everywhere else on the planet Earth that de Tocqueville said he had been. So why is that? So that is our problem. We're so in love with a concept we don't fully understand, and we reject those things we depend on. America is America because it has a technology edge on everywhere else in the world. But when you look at it, okay, Elon Musk is from South Africa. Albert Einstein, who actually fits the definition of being the Jewish Messiah more than anybody that's ever come along, since he influenced most of what happens when it comes to military matters on the planet Earth today. He came from abroad. You got Werner von Braun, another countryman, but of a different political persuasion. Von Braun was a Nazi, and Operation Paperclip was designed to take advantage of that intellect. He's father of the American space program, the ICBM, the military missile programs. So you get what that comes from Native Americans. You get a few things, but like was being observed here, I saw that 30, 35, 40 years ago. You go to a major American educational institution and you see more people of new foreign extraction in there than you do Americans. You don't see men in there either. Only 36% of the American college undergraduates are male. And that's not just black folk, that's everybody. Only 32% of the American college undergrads are male. Only 36% of the grad students are male. Only 44% of the American workforce is male. So what are you doing here? Somebody somewhere has got something in place where the socialization and acculturation of the public has gone ass backwards, and you're disregarding the boys. So I don't care what the feminists say, they aren't doing the drive-bys, they aren't doing the armed robberies, they aren't the ones that can vest all sorts of nasty consequences if they get motivated and mad enough. Better wake up, or Skynet looms. And Arnold won't come back as the actor, he'll come back as the Terminator. But as you saw in one of the more recent episodes in the franchise, he can also be a protector too. So you need to get that in place.
Well, I think my last words would be, I would encourage everyone to be optimistic and excited about the future.
Good.
And generally, I think for quality of life, it is actually better to err on the side of being an optimist and wrong rather than a pessimist and right.